Okay, well, that's that event. If you want to get pedantic about the term, I think it's quite clear that that's God speaking to his son. I mean, when Jesus prays, even how he teaches us to pray in the Lord's Prayer.
Okay, I've got a question.
I've
got a question for you. In the Bible,
Okay.
as a whole, how many
Yeah.
times does it say that Jesus is the Son of God? How many times does it say that God is the Father of Jesus? How many times?
Quite a lot in both
How
those
many?
cases. I don't know exactly.
Find out how many times it says it, and then deduce that this overall expression by the whole Christian community
Right.
that Jesus was the Son of God
Yeah.
and God is the Father of Jesus,
Yeah.
whether it's justified.
Yeah, but, okay, my friend, with respect, have you read the Gospels? Because if you've read this is basically like me saying, I don't know, where in the Quran does it say to worship only one God? It will be that kind of
No, but
level.
in the
You
Quran,
understand that?
it's a constant theme.
It's
a repetitive theme.
Jesus' crucifixion is in all Gospels, right?
Yeah.
Jesus' baptism, that it talks about the Holy Spirit descending upon him and the Father saying, "Behold, it's my Son with whom I am well pleased."
We're not saying that the accounts of them disciples was wrong, because from what they saw,
Yeah.
that might have been apparent that Jesus was crucified. But what the Muslim understanding of them events is that it was actually a double. It was a body double. It was somebody that
someone who's made to look
figuratively
like
looked
him.
like Jesus.
Well,
But
probably
God
literally, right?
No, it wasn't literally. It was people saw it. The disciples would have seen that that's Jesus on the cross, because his image, his presence looked like that. Appearance looked like.
Right,
like
but they ultimately
Jesus.
were tricked into thinking it was.
Yeah, they were tricked into thinking.
Yeah.
Because obviously.
I'll be cautious about saying the word tricked because.
The Romans wanted to crucify Jesus.
Right. Okay.
Our understanding of it is that God did not allow that to happen.
Right.
And that the person who was crucified.
Yeah.
Was actually somebody else.
Yeah.
Who was given the appearance of Jesus.
Yeah.
But
So
Jesus
they thought they were
himself was
crucifying
already
him.
saved and had already been risen.
Okay. You understand that the historical consensus, like mainstream, like everywhere, is that Christ was crucified.
Yeah.
There was a person called Jesus of Nazareth who was trialed and was found guilty and was crucified under Pontius Pilate.
Yeah, because by a normal person seeing, by the naked eye, it was Jesus on the cross. But
you're aware that the accounts also talk about the disciples speaking to him and hearing him.
Yeah.
So they're close enough they can actually hear and see him. And they still get confused and think it's Jesus, when actually it's not really Jesus.
I'll give you an example. If you're on the cross right now, and everybody's looking, and they can see that. What's your name? Sorry.
Chris.
Chris is on the cross.
Yeah.
Whether you are speaking exactly like how Jesus was 10 minutes ago, or half an hour ago, or 1 hour ago, do you think people are going to go by what they see in them days when Jesus was obviously alive, or do you think they're going to go by, oh, he's speaking a little bit differently, he's speaking a bit more gingerly than
hang on, wait.
an hour ago?
You need to think about this.
Do you understand where I'm coming from?
You're basically saying that every testimony, including his mother, was not able to recognize her own son.
No, because God had changed the appearance of the person who was on the cross to look exactly befitting of Jesus.
See, again, it doesn't go in line with the history.
No, of course it's not.
It really doesn't.
Of course it's not going to go in line with history, because your version of history came before that of the Quran, because you completely disagree with the Quran. You do not accept it as a religious historical text.
Yeah.
So obviously from your perspective, everything that predates Islam is all true, and everything that comes after Islam is all wrong.
Well,
so obviously the arguments of Islam, you've not accepted any of the arguments of Islam.
Well, there are many things wrong with Islam. Okay, we can go. There are a plethora of things. The historical problems is one. The moral problems is another one, in a whole other category. Because remember,
what version of morality are you applying to?
The objective one set by God.
When?
Through Christ.
Through Christ. So it's a previous message.
Yeah.
You're bringing a criteria for the Quran and for Islam that was given to you predating Islam. So it'd be before Islam.
Yes.
How does that work?
What do you mean, how does that work?
How does it work? So are you saying that you could apply
the
criteria of the Torah to the Bible?
Wait. By your logic the Book of Mormon is better as a revelation because it comes later. Just because something comes later doesn't mean it's better or something like that. Yeah.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If you've got an iPhone, right, they're sending new updates.
Yeah.
You have the understanding that if they're sending an update, it's going to make your phone operate better, right?
Okay, sure,
it's for your operating system. It's a patch.
Yeah.
Essentially, what they're doing is they've had feedback about the operating system from all the users. They've taken that seriously, and the same people who made the actual operating system, improving the operating system by sending patches to the phone.
Sure.
So what's to say, this is what we're saying, that the Quran is not there to completely replace the message of Jesus or the message of Moses, but it's a patch for whatever misinterpretations, whatever misunderstandings, whatever flaws people may have gathered from that original script. That might not have been the disciples of Jesus. It might have been a few generations
But the
later.
problem with that, though, is that you can take that logic and just apply it infinitely. So why not accept the Ahmadiyya claims and the Ahmadiyya understandings?
Because the Ahmadiyya understanding is totally off. It goes off the tangent of what the Quran is essentially saying.
Exactly, that's exactly what the Quran does about the Bible.
And you can see that it's gone off on a completely different tangent.
But that's my point. I read the Quran and I thought exactly that. I thought the Quran has gone completely off the message of the Bible. I mean, the Quran doesn't understand the messianic function. It doesn't understand what the purpose of the Christ was.
No, the thing
it accepts that Jesus is the Messiah, but it never explains what it thinks that means. And this is why there's a weird... What is the Messiah?
According to our understanding of what the Messiah is, I don't know if that will go against what you understand, but in the end of times, which based on our understanding is not too far away now, based on what's going on around in the world, Jesus Christ will come back to this earth to do two things. First of all, to obviously battle with the Antichrist, who we believe is the Dajjal, who will try to misguide the whole of humanity into believing that he is God, because he'll have special abilities, he'll have powers, he'll be able to bring the dead visibly, not physically, visibly back to life in front of human beings by their eyes, by the visible naked eyes. But another mission of Jesus Christ will be when he comes back onto the earth, is to complete his life as a human being and to also reaffirm himself as a follower of the Prophet Mohammed ﷺ, and to tell the Christians that until now their understanding of his message was faulty. It was not correct. It was flawed.
Right, but the Quran affirms at a basic level the Injil. So this is why it's very important for you to explain to me when the Injil or the Gospel was corrupted. Because if it was corrupted before Muhammad affirmed a corrupted Gospel. But if it was corrupted after Muhammad, then we have the manuscript evidence to go back and to look at what the originals were, which predate Muhammad, and we know what they were. And they say all the things that we say they say.
You know what the original scripts of the Bible say. It doesn't match up with what you're reading right now with the...
No, it does. It's the same thing. It's the same. Jesus is the Son of God. He was incarnate.
Why have they created new versions if the original was...
I still don't think you understand that. What do you mean by new versions again? Remember, we said this before.
The King James version.
But the King James is a translation from Latin.
Yeah, when you've translated it,
you've
translated it into the English of that time.
No, you still think there's some it started off as Hebrew or Greek, and then it became Latin, and these were destroyed, and then the Latin became like French or something, and these were destroyed, and then these became... That's not how it works.
Not destroyed. They've been retranslated again and again many times.
Right, but that's... so, for example, if I copy something, right, and then I do whatever I want with the copy, and then I make another copy from that same original, and then I make another copy from that same original, have I damaged the original?
How if you've gone into different languages? And
no, because the original's still there.
Yeah, the original's there, but you're not following the original.
It's like in order to I know this is quite crude, but wait. If I copied and pasted a file on my computer lots of times, I'm not damaging the original, am I?
What if you don't recognize it?
What?
The Christian fraternity today doesn't recognize the essential Injil message that us Muslims recognize.
But you have no evidence of this. So what is the original Injil?
In this country, what version of the Bible is in dispensation? What is being dispensed?
We have tons of English translations of the Bible, just as we have tons of English translations of the Quran.
No, but do you have the Bible? Are you learning in school? Are you learning in the church the original message of the Bible in its language?
Well, a lot of us don't know Greek or Aramaic or Hebrew.
Exactly.
To fully know our scriptures, directly,
that's what you need.
We would have to learn Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic.
Yes,
right.
That's what you need to know. And another
thing, wait. So, are there any Muslims who don't know Arabic who understand the Quran?
Without learning, what we believe is that without understanding Arabic, it's very difficult for you to understand the Quran in its proper sense, in its true written sense.
But you can understand the meaning of the Quran. You can understand the message.
You can understand the brief meaning. You can't go into...
You can understand that Allah is one. You can understand... You understand. Right. Likewise, with the Bible, you can do the same.
Yeah.
There you are then. So there's no issue.
Thank you. What I'm saying is that when you talk about Jesus being the Son of God.
Yes, as we find in our earliest manuscripts.
Why are you magnifying that so much?
Because that's what both his disciples and the eyewitness testimony tells us. They believe that because they heard it from him.
Yeah, but why is that central to your whole belief system?
Wait. If someone heard Muhammad say something as revelation, is written down, you take that as Quran, right? You want to be like, whoa, why are you making such a big deal about this whole Allah is one thing?
The difference with us is that we don't go into one verse of the Quran and magnify that. We
Of course you do.
No,
Okay, well that's fine. You can say that as well.
You guys, you're magnifying this point of.
But you guys magnify Tawheed. You magnify Tawheed.
Yeah, because Tawheed is the oneness.
Well, there you are then. Okay, so you do that then.
No, it's the basis of faith.
Okay, but for us, our basis of faith is that we accept who God is and who God has revealed himself to be. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
What you've done is you've looked at the relationship between the prophet and the creator, and you've made that as the focal point.
Wait. You've read the Gospels, right?
Okay, no. Answer this.
You should know.
At different points of Christianity, has the focal point of the religion always been the same, or has it changed?
Yeah, it's always been the same. Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
From the time of Christ. Yeah.
How would you know that?
How would I know that? I can look at the earliest church fathers and what they wrote about. I can look at the earliest manuscripts because we have our manuscript evidence.
And there's no difference.
Yeah, it's the same message. Absolutely the same.
Completely the same.
Yeah, Jesus was the Son incarnate. Yes, he is the Word, as described in John 1:1. He was born of a virgin. They all say that. He lived a sinless life. They all say that.
I don't believe that.
Prove it then.
No. If you brought me the written accounts, the historical accounts of what different scholars of Christianity said at different points, and we read that through, I can guarantee there will be a difference.
Wait. When you say different scholars,
1,000 years ago till now.
Well, I mean, you can find quacky scholars at any point, right? What I'm trying to get to you is I'm talking about the earliest church fathers, and I'm talking about the disciples and the companions, and I'm talking about our manuscripts. That confirms everything I'm saying.
No, but I'm talking about, if you look at the most prominent Christian scholars,
right,
every 100 years, every 200 years,
okay,
have a look at what their written accounts of their understanding of the Bible was, and the core message of Christianity, and I guarantee you will see some difference. You're saying to me that it's word by word the same over all them 2,000 years. I'm saying that's not.
What do you mean scholarly opinion?
As in what they've picked up from the text.
Wait. Okay, if I did the same for Islam, that wouldn't be fair. There are obviously some scholars at some point in history of Islam that have said weird things, but I'm not going to be like, oh, there's a scholar that says weird things, therefore it's not always been the same. No, of course.
It's weird by your understanding of the world as it is today. This is what I'm saying to you, that, you know, when you say that the Quran has been translated, it's being translated into the English of today. The English of Shakespeare time.
Yeah, it would have been a different translation, yeah.
Why? Because that was a poetic time. That was a different type of...
Sure, like in this likewise with King James.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if the Bible has been translated in different time periods, it's been translated by people, hasn't it? It's not just translated
likewise with the Quran.
So the people who've translated it, they've translated it based on their understanding of the world in that moment. So when you argue that Jesus is the Son of God,
which we find our earliest manuscripts,
what is to say that your understanding of the expression of Son and Father is the same as theirs at the beginning?
Because we have church fathers that talk about it, that explain, and give their tafsir.
Church fathers of today?
No, church fathers back then. Ignatius, Papyrus.
So are they saying the exact same words as the people of today?
The same doctrines, yeah.
So let me ask you something. You know, when the Christian scholars of today, they give their interpretation, understanding of Christianity, do you think they've already read what the previous scholars have written, or they've just gone like...
No, it's been passed down through the institution of the church.
Yeah, so they've read what the previous prominent scholars of your faith have written.
You know, we have, in our faith, we have creeds, right?
They're basing their opinion of today on what they've already read of scholars before.
Wait. In our institution of the church, we have something called creeds. We have the Nicene Creed, for example, that we recite every Sunday at church. Likewise, you have Aqidah, which is something that you're familiar with, that gives you a set of beliefs that you have to believe. Tawheed is one of them. We're going to this, the attributes of Allah, all that. Right. We all have the same thing. Most Muslims have not read all the earlier stuff. They haven't read all of Ibn Kathir. They haven't read all of Al-Qutubi. They haven't read all these things.
Neither have all Christians read.
Exactly. So what does it matter? The point is that the institution you have and the institution we have has canonized these things, and they're now part of our creed.
We have not tampered with our books, whereas you
What do you mean tampered with the books?
Change the meaning, change the interpretation.
But our earliest manuscripts say that Jesus came incarnate. Have you ever read John 1? John 1:18 says that the Word that existed with God, that was with God, that is God, became flesh.
Yeah, it became flesh, but he's a walking, talking version of the Bible. That doesn't mean that he is the Son of God.
It literally, okay, in the book of Hebrews, in verse 8, chapter 1, it explicitly says that the Father calls the Son God. I can show you that.
Yeah, when he's saying that, what is the interpretation of that word? Is it literally Son of God?
Yeah, because it quotes the Old Testament. It quotes a verse in the Old Testament, which is applied to Yahweh, God, and it says, but about the Son, he says,
But that version of that language, that language style, the linguistic form them words have been written, might not be relevant to today's understanding of
the early church understood that as claims of divinity.
Divinity, but it doesn't mean that he's literally the Son of God, as in physically the Son of God, which is
okay.
When you say
the Son of God, there are many senses you can be a son of someone. The Christian is saying that there is a unique relationship that the Son has to the Father, right?
Yes.
They are both preeminent. They both pre-existed.
Yes.
They both were involved in creation. Colossians 1:16 and so on. We can go into all this stuff. But the Son describes himself in that way. John chapter 10, verses 34 onwards. He describes the unique relationship that he has, that he is the uniquely begotten Son of the Father.
Yes, but I've not got a problem with that. What I'm saying is, if you express the relationship in that way, there's not a problem with that. But if an uneducated person, an atheist or uneducated Christian, who said that Jesus is the Son of God, what do you think their interpretation and understanding of it would be? Do you not think it's dangerous for the
No,
wrong type of
because
person?
we explain these things clearly, as I have done to you.
But
there is a spiritual
not
sense.
not every single Christian is a churchgoer. Not every single
Sure,
Christian
by all
is
means.
well-read.
There are Muslims that are Muslims that are
There
read
are
on lots
Muslims
of
that aren't
things.
educated as well. But because the Quranic message has been preserved in its original form, more or less.
Oh yeah, same with the Bible.
No, it hasn't, because
Why?
Because so for example, the Church of England, the Church of England.
Well, no, I'm gonna have to go in a few minutes,
Yeah,
so
no
you know, I
worries.
have a train to catch.
The Church of England objectively focuses on certain verses of the Bible,
Right.
and teaches it and propagates that in schools.
Right.
So they're only teaching one
aspect.
the one aspect of Christianity,
All right, I
because
don't really
they don't
think
want
that's
anything
true.
that contradicts their
No.
way of thinking about Jesus and the relationship.
But
between
wait,
Jesus and
well,
God.
if you're talking about like secondary issues of which there are differences in opinion in church, in the different mainstream churches, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But likewise with Islam.
Yeah, but that's not being broadcasted everywhere in schools.
Hey, of course it is. I can go on
it's
YouTube and I can look
Yeah.
at debates between Athalis and Ash'aris,
Yeah,
and they go at each
debates.
other's throats because they're really passionate about it.
Yeah, they're passionate. The rest of the consensus, the rest of the people, they're not passionate about it.
Okay,
They-
well, likewise to Christianity then.
If
You're not
you're a-
making a distinction between Christian
Do you think-
and Islam.
I'll ask you a question. Do you think that the majority of Christians
Yeah.
or the majority of Muslims
Yeah.
are looking for the true message, or they're interested in, oh, this scholar disagrees with that scholar, or this scholar disagrees with that scholar, or this opinion is
Well,
different?
I really do have to go now.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say something to the camera, and then you can say what you want, and then we'll call it a day. Is that all right? Well, what? Oh, there we go.
So you can do.
See. I got these on, so it blocks out the sun, just so everyone knows. Yeah. You can say. No, I gotta go because I've gotta go. Right, just real quickly, I had a very nice and polite chat with this Muslim gentleman here. Thank you for listening to me and letting me speak. That was always good, and you know, it's good that truth can come out. Always good to chat.
That's what we're here for.
So we talked about lots of different things, about different opinions. With respect, I think he has quite a naive view of how the Bible's been preserved and perhaps how the Quran has been preserved. I mentioned that there are actually technically 10 canonized Quran readings, or Arabic Qurans as I would say, and that they do have differences. I've shown you the British translation of the Technical Art of the Noble Quran. You can check that in his own time. We talked about whether or not things have changed, what's appropriate and correct understanding of Isa, or Jesus as we say. We say that he is God incarnate, the Word that became flesh. He disagreed with that, but as I mentioned, the evidence seems to on our side through our manuscripts, through the early church father writings, and through everything else. The early church